This is how to loom Eeyore part 2, the body, and we're going to start off and we're going to E-wrap cast on 24 pegs working circular. Go ahead and push all those loops down, and then you're going to E-wrap again 24 pegs to prep for a double E-wrap. And push all the pegs down again. And then you want to E-wrap all 24 pegs and toss the bottom loop over the top 2 loop to start doing your double E-wrap. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to E-wrap 24 pegs for 8 rows doing the double E-wrap. So you're going to go in and continue this for 7 more rows for a total of 8 rows. So go ahead and pause the video. Once you're done, we're going to start creating the curve in Eeyore's back. So E-wrap 12 pegs, stop. After you get to 12 pegs, toss the bottom loop over, on those 12 pegs. We're going to do this like you'd work a heel of a sock. And you're going to wrap and turn peg 13, and then you're going to E-wrap 11 pegs back. And I'm going to go through this slowly so it's not a question as to how I'm doing it. So I'm doing this actually in real time. There's your peg 13, so don't toss the bottom loop over on that. Alright, now you're going to wrap and turn your first peg, and then you're going to E-wrap 10 pegs back. and don't toss over that. Okay, you're going to wrap and turn peg 11 and E-wrap 9 pegs. And as you can see, we're slowly working down into the middle. And as I said, you should have 2 pegs from your starting point because you're going to wrap and turn peg 2. So you have 2 there on the end that are wrapped and turned. Okay, you're going to wrap and turn peg 2, and then you're going to E-wrap 8 pegs. Okay, leave those 2 pegs on the end. Don't toss them over. Then you're going to E-wrap, wrap and turn the next peg, and then go back and E-wrap 7 pegs. You can see I went ahead and E-wrapped, but I'm not going to toss it over because that's going to be my wrap and turn. So go ahead and toss those over. What we're trying to do is work down to 6 pegs in between our wrap and turns. And now you should have 3 pegs on the end and 3 pegs on the other end that are going to be wrapped and turned. Wrap and turn and E-wrap 6 pegs. Okay, wrap and turn and then E-wrap 5 pegs. Wrap and turn and then E-wrap 5 pegs. Now you should have 4 wrap and turns on each side. And now you're going to E-wrap the next one, which will be 6, and you're going to toss the bottom 2 loops over the top to continue that 2 loops staying on the peg. So toss those bottom 2 loops over. Then E-wrap 7 pegs. And again, on the wrap and turn, toss the bottom 2 loops over the top 2, making sure to keep 2 loops on your peg. Now you're going to go and E-wrap 8 pegs. And on the wrap and turn, make sure you toss the bottom 2 loops over the top 2, keeping the 2 loops on the peg. Then E-wrap 9 pegs. Toss the bottom 2 loops over the top 2 on that wrap and turn peg. Then E-wrap 10 pegs. Toss the bottom 2 loops over the top 2 on that wrap and turn peg. And toss the rest over as usual. What we're doing is we're creating a nice line to show us where we're going to sew on our legs later on by doing this as well. And now you want to E-wrap 11 pegs. Toss the bottom 2 loops over the top 2 on the wrap and turn peg, and then toss the others over like normal. We're almost done with this section. Okay, E-wrap 12 pegs. Toss the bottom 2 loops over the top 2 on your wrap and turn peg, and then toss the rest over like normal. And then now you want to E-wrap 13 pegs. Tossing the bottom 2 loops over the top 2 on your wrap and turn peg. Toss the others over as normal. And that's what it should generally look like, as you can see, a nice kind of little curvature in there. And now that we are back to where we started, after we've created that curvature, now we're going to do the bottom half of the upper part of the body. So now what we want to do is we want to E-wrap 24 pegs. We're going to start working back circularly again. Toss the bottom loop over the top 2 loops. Now you want to E-wrap 24 pegs, 7 more rows for a total of 8 rows, and you'll want to pause the video at this point to go in and complete these rows. So go ahead and continue. Now get down to 1 loop on each peg. So go ahead and toss the bottom loop over on all pegs to get down to 1 loop on each peg. Now you're going to purl 24 pegs. And this is going to give you a guide as to where to sew your back legs onto. So go ahead and purl 24 pegs. Once you've completed that, we're going to work our way back to double E-wrap. Just go ahead and push those down. And you want to E-wrap 24 pegs. Push the loops down. Then E-wrap another 24 pegs. And now toss the bottom loop over the top to get back to a double E-wrap. And we're now going to work the bottom area of the body from here. Okay. Now from here you're going to E-route 24 pegs for a total of 5 rows. And you'll want to pause the video to complete your rows, so a total of 5. After you've done that, you're going to toss all the loops. You're going to toss bottom loop over the top to get down to 1 loop on each peg. Okay, from here you're going to decrease by every other peg and then toss the bottom loop over the top all the way around. This removes the bulk from the cast off is the reason for doing this. You can just draw a string cast off from here if you don't mind the bulk, but this is just a preference. And you should be down to 12 pegs. Now you want to cut a tail and you want to draw a string cast off all the pegs and close up the bottom half of the body. Go ahead and take the loops off the pegs so you can draw string it together. And then you want to flip it inside out to close it up. I usually pull one strand out so it's easy to tie off. But it popped on me, but that's okay. We'll just tie it off the other way I do it. Snip the ends, flip right side out. You're going to tighten your cast on, make sure you pull to see which direction not to go, and go the opposite direction of where it's going. So it's going that direction, you want to go the opposite direction. So go ahead and start pulling your original cast on one at a time, all the way around. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, it's just an option. And then you want to stuff the inside and start on your legs. Now we're going to start on the legs, and you want to take your loom and you want to E-wrap cast on 18 pegs. And again, we're going to be working with the double E-wrap technique. So you're going to be E-wrapping 18 and then E-wrapping 18 and then E-wrapping 18 again. We're going to be working flat, so you're going to E-wrap again 18 pegs. And push all the loops down again. And then E-wrap 18 pegs and toss the bottom loop over the top 2 loops. Now you want to E-wrap 18 pegs for a total of 8 rows. For instance, I'm E-wrapping row 2. And keep going back and forth. And this will be row 3. So pause here to complete your rows. You want a total of 8 rows. Once you've done that, you're going to toss the end loops over to 1 and and then put that over onto the next peg. And you're going to do that on both ends. Toss the one over and then decrease down. And what you're going to do is you're going to E-wrap 16 pegs. And when you get to the decreased ones, you want to toss the bottom 2 loops over the top 2 loops, keeping 2 loops on the end pegs. Then everything else flows the same. And when you get to the decreased peg, toss the bottom 2 loops over the top 2. Okay. Now you want to toss the bottom loop over the top loop on the end pegs and decrease over to the next peg like you did previously. So toss the bottom loop over and then take that loop, put it on the next one. Then E-wrap 14 pegs. And then you want to toss the bottom 2 loops over the top 2 loops on the decreased peg. Then toss all the rest over as normal. And then on the decreased peg, toss the bottom 2 loops over the top 2. Now you want to E-wrap 14 pegs for a total of 10 rows. So this will be your first row. Okay, and you want to pause here to complete the total 10 rows. And once you've done that, you're going to toss the bottom loop over the top to have 1 loop on each peg to prepare for cast off. And from here, I'm casting off my way, but you want to cast off all 14 pegs. And from here, you can cast off whichever way you like to cast off, whatever's the norm for you. But you want to cast off all your pegs. and snip your end and pull through. Then you want to tighten your cast on. You can choose to do this, or if you don't want to, you can just go ahead and sew up the bottom and the front. Again, this is a preference. And from here you want to sew up the bottom and the front, leaving the top open, and you want to make 4 of these, and you want to go ahead and stuff them. So there's the front and the bottom, and leave the top open to stuff. And I usually use my extra from the Tighten cast on. Make 4 and stuff them. This is what it should look like. Now we're going to work on the tail. And you want to E-wrap cast on 5 pegs. Because we're not stuffing this, we're just going to do this regular. So E-wrap 5 pegs and toss the bottom loop over. So this is regular. And then you want to E-wrap 5 pegs for a total of 15 rows. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to pause here to complete the rows. Once you've done that, cut the tail and drawstring cast off. Take your pegs off, take your loops off the pegs. Drawstring and sew up your tail. Go ahead and sew up your tail. If you have a cord loom, you can choose to do a cord instead of doing it this way. And there's your tail. Now we want to do our hair, and you just want your scrap black yarn for this, and you're only going to use 1 strand, and we're going to do the long piece first, and you want to E-wrap cast on 24 pegs. So go ahead and E-wrap cast on 24 pegs. And because we are not stuffing hair, of course, this is going to be done pretty regular, but it's going to be done in a technique that's like my crocodile stitch. And So go ahead and E-wrap 24 pegs. Toss the bottom loop over all the way around. Okay. From here, you're going to take the next 2 pegs and you're going to work them back and forth for 15 rows. Those 2 pegs for 15 rows. So there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 'and then you want to do the next 2 for 15 rows. Now I did 11, but 15 makes them longer. But you want to do it for 15 rows. And you want to do this all the way around. You can choose to do it 11 rows or 15 rows, but 15 rows gives you longer hair. You want to do the next 2 and the next 2, and you want to do this all the way around to complete the row. And this is what it should look like when it's done. And now what you want to do is you want to take your cast on and you want to put it back on the pegs. Like if you were to make a brim, you're going to put your cast on back on the pegs. And that's what it should look like after you do that. And there you go. That's what it should look like. So now what you want to do is you want to E-wrap 24 pegs. And then toss the bottom 2 loops over the top. here, you want to cast off. And you can cast off whatever way you're used to. This is just the way I do it. So go ahead and cast off all the pegs. And you're going to do the same technique where you E-wrap a row, you E-wrap cast on, then E-wrap a row, and then do the 2 pegs for 15 rows. You're going to do that for the shorter piece for 12 pegs rather than 24, but it's the same number of rows, and it's this general same technique. It's just less pegs that you're working with. You're working with 12 rather than 24. So this is your long strand. And again, repeat the same thing, doing 12 pegs rather than 24 pegs. The 12 pegs are going to be for your tail. This is for your head, the long strand is. And this is what it should look like when it's done, and then when you fold it in half, it should give you hair. And so just work with the 12 pegs and do the exact same rows. And then what we'll do is when we go to assemble, we'll take our tail and we'll wrap it around and sew it up. So move on to part 3 to put your Eeyore together.